Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. A little over a month ago, 4 college students were stabbed to death in their off-campus home at the University of Idaho. The murder weapon has not been located. No suspect has been identified. Information has been slow and sometimes in conflict. The public is growing restless, and the family of at least one victim has grown frustrated. Where are the police in their investigation? Will there be an arrest and successful prosecution for the killer of 4 young people? Joining us is former FBI Special Agent Maureen O'Connell. Special Agent, thank you for joining us. Is there some new evidentiary development or something that gives you hope that progress is being made on developing a suspect?
Well, I was in Idaho last week and I spoke at length to Kaylee's parents, and they've been informed that the investigation is moving in the right direction, and I really love to hear that. And while we were there, we told them how much these law enforcement officers want to give them good news, and that was really comforting to them in a really, obviously, just extraordinarily sad time. There are things that are happening right now. There are some things that are slowing things down. For example, finals were Friday night, so the whole town is pretty much empty. And in order to have an in-person interview or, talk to someone again, normally the cops would just go out right to their house and bring them in and talk to them. But in this particular instance, they're having to send leads to either FBI offices or to local police departments throughout the country where these kids, went home for the holidays. So there are a lot of things that are causing this thing to slow down, and a lot of them have also to do with the forensic evidence that they took into custody. Apparently, this evidence was actually layered, which is very difficult to work with and pull apart and put into its own little bucket. Where, for example, if the shoe impressions with snow and dirt and rocks and blood all have to be separated out and tested. So there are just so many moving parts, but them working in the going in the right direction meant a lot to me.
All right, Special Agent, I know the Bureau has a robust behavioral science unit. Some states do as well. Does the manner in which these victims were killed tell you anything about the motive or the offender?
Yes, I have 2 very good friends that are just renowned behavioral scientists, and we talk about casework all the time, and we have a almost daily text chain. They both told me that the victim that received the most severe wound would be the one that was the initial target of this attack. Now, there's also the chance that one of the victims fought back hard and really said something terrible to overexcite the offender, and then he gave her the worst end of the brutal attack.
All right, you touched on something. I mean, look, I know police want to tell the family and friends of victims as much as they can, but sometimes they cannot because it will jeopardize the investigation. How do you reconcile that tension between, there's no one in the world that feels the loss of these 4 more than their parents and their siblings and their family, but yet you don't want to jeopardize the investigation. So how do you balance those 2 tensions?
Well, it's a very dicey and very delicate dance that you have to do with them, but you let them know that your heart and soul are in this case, that you want more than anything to have justice for their child. But in order to do that, there's all kinds of things that you have to keep quiet, because the nature of a victim or the parent is to be emotional, and that's normal, and everyone expects that. But when you're emotional, you have a hard time keeping things close to the vest. So that's where the problem is, that's where the rub is, and that's why having these conversations with them, keeping open lines of communication is crucial.
All right, stabbing 4 people is not a federal crime, usually, but the feds have resources other departments do not have. Do you have a sense of how involved the FBI is? Are they helping when asked, or are they kind of co-partners in this investigation?
Well, the case belongs to Moscow PD, and the FBI has a program where if you're a local municipal law enforcement agency and you have something that's outside of your bounds, you can actually request for support from the FBI, and it's support to the locals. We do it all the time, and it's a very successful program. So I think they're very, very involved, especially with all the social media stuff, all the IT stuff. There are so many students from this school that were at these parties that are commenting on forums such as Reddit or 4chan. And 4chan is anonymous, so it's very, very difficult to find out who the person is that posted these things. So even when something interesting like that comes up and may ring true or may not, they have to do a ton of digging. Again, to your point about it's just taking a lot of time.
Well, it will be worth it if the right person is found or persons and there's a successful prosecution.